Hi guys, this is Kendra with True Us TV, and I'm back with another video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Now, I was supposed to do this video a while ago, but I'm not one for caring what people think, but I still do. Like, I don't want to lie and pretend like I don't care what people think. I do to some degree. So that's why it took me this long to do this video. Now, this video ain't to bash nobody. This is just me living in my truth and being honest. Now, I'm going to say it like this. If anybody, male or female, is following Tiffany Montgomery, I'm telling you now, don't do it. Tiffany Montgomery was said to have been a prophetess, right? Of, what did she say? She's supposed to be a prophetess. And I forgot her little ministry or whatever, Tiffany Montgomery. So I followed her, right? And the reason, let me explain. I heard about women not being able to preach in the Word of God. I heard about it. Hold on, I can't even pull up scripture to solidify. All right, this ain't a teacher moment. This is just me. I had to pull it up. 1 Timothy 2:11 and 12. It basically said God does not suffer a woman to teach. All right, to be silent in church. I'm not teaching. I'm just letting y'all know what the truth was that I found out through reading the Bible. Right? Women are not to preach. And she says she's a prophet, right? She said that she's a prophet. Well, prophet and preaching are two different things, right? Because to prophesy is to tell the future, and to preach is to teach. Women, he does not suffer a woman to teach. She be preaching, right? The year of the bride fast is what I did with Tiffany Montgomery last year, right? But for the end of the year of the bride fast, I did that with Tiffany Montgomery, and this is how this all began. So at the time, I heard about women not being able to preach, but for some reason I put it to the back of my mind. I heard it. I knew that it was said, but I don't know why I did not take it into consideration, because I had a lot of spiritual attack, and I watched Stephen Darby, and Stephen Darby talked about the spiritual attack of a pastor. And I, as a woman, everything that Stephen Darby said about the spiritual attack that pastors get, I myself, as a woman, were getting all those spiritual attacks. And I mean it, especially in the mind. Especially in my mind. More in my mind than anything else. Right? And so I went to church, Jump Ministry, where the pastor, and it's on live TV and it's recorded, he literally told me that I, being a female, born a female, he told me, chromosomes of a female, he told me that I had a spirit of evangelism. Now, at the time, I didn't know what evangelism was, but it's to teach, basically, right? Now, when I was younger, I did have people say things like, when I went to school in Job Corps, I had a couple of times, like I had a big sister who told me, I'm not like you. I was 11 years old. She said, I'm not like you, Kendra. You know, I was talking to her about personal things, and I was very judgy as an 11-year-old. I don't know why, but when we would have conversation with each other, I would say certain things as if I had any wisdom, telling her about herself and relationship. I don't know why I was like that as a kid, but I was like that. And she said to me, I'm not like you, Kendra. I don't have the ability to discern. She didn't say, she said discern people. I don't have the ability to discern, basically, spirit. And when I was 11, I didn't know what to make of that, because I was too young. I remembered it to this day that she said it, but I kind of was like, what are you talking about? I'm just, telling you. But that's what she told me. And it wouldn't be the first time that I got this a couple of times, where people would say to me, I had like a teacher that I went to school with in Job Corps, as I was saying. Her name was Mrs. White Bear, and she said to me, when you walk into a room, there's a presence that come with you before you even enter it. And she was like, it's not a bad presence, but it's a presence nonetheless that every time you step into a room, it comes with you. I never, and mind you, at that time I was about 22, 23 years old, and I didn't then know what to make of it. But I always had spiritual warfare. I had people hate me for nothing. I mean, the bullying, I'm not talking about one or two people. I'm talking about a campus full of people who hated my guts, to the point where I had to go to God to pray them away. And believe me, maybe I'll tell it in another video. I didn't want this video to be too long. We 5 minutes on the clock. But yes, I had a lot of spiritual warfare. So when he told me, so when my pastor from Jump Ministry said to me, I had this a spirit of evangelism, it made sense. All this warfare that I was going through didn't make sense to me, because I'm just a woman, right? And when I realized that as a woman, I've been going through such spiritual warfare and finding out the truth that women cannot be evangelists, I didn't understand what the warfare was anymore. So let's go back into me doing a Year of the Bride fast. Clearly, you know what the Year of the Bride fast is for. It's for marriage, right? So I did the Year of the Bride fast with Tiffany Montgomery in hopes, let's break the yoke of unhusbanded in my family bloodline. My mother and her mother were the first in their bloodline to not be married, right? My mother had a wedlock, and my mother had me out of wedlock, right? And so I wanted to break whatever generational curse it was that was causing marriage to be delayed in our family bloodline, right? My oldest sister is now married, but the younger girls in our family are not, and neither are the boys in our family, right? Now, so I proceeded to do everything she said because I wanted to see a change. I fasted in the hours that she said fasted. I followed everything she said to the T. Now, in that, there were prayers. She started off with one of the prayers to tear down generational curses out of your bloodline. So, upon doing that, a couple of days after praying the prayer, I had a dream. And I had a dream, and I want to share with you the dream that I had. So, in this dream, I am at my house that I grew up with in Long Island, New York. I'm at my old house when I was about 11 years old. And I'm driving in front of it, right? And all my sisters and brothers were now all adults. And I pull up to the house. All my family is there, my nieces and my nephews, my nieces-in-laws, my niece, everybody's there, right? And as I pull up to the yard, I noticed there was this white man who lived a house down from us. He was popping fireworks. So I noticed now our house, how it was set up, there was a pathway, and the house was separated by this small road that was, was a road, and there was no trees around it. But specifically in my dream, the house was connected the way my house that my mother live in now is connected, where my house is sitting straight looking toward the road, and the path no longer is there, but the white man house is there with trees all around about it. So, for perspective, so this white man is in his yard with all these trees, and him and his family they were having a party, and he was lighting fireworks, and each time the firework explode, trees were falling. Now, in my dream, I cognitively thought, I know what this is. I remember in my dream saying that. I know what this is. So, but I'll go back into dream world where he's still lighting these fireworks, and I look to my sister and her husband in the car, and I say, "Hey, Tina, tell that white man to stop popping them fireworks. All these trees are falling." And so he proceeded to continue to light the fireworks, and the trees were falling. And I remember thinking in my dream, But before I even say what I was thinking in my dream, I ran into the yard to get ready to go tell the white man to stop popping the fireworks. Right? All right, 10 minutes. I'm sorry, y'all. This is going to be a long one. So I proceeded to tell him to stop popping the fireworks. The trees are falling. In front of my house was a wooden gate that we used to stand on as children. And in front of the wooden gate was a tree that was massive. Though it was so massive, the roots was as tall as me. I'm 5'4". The roots were as tall as me. The tree was so huge. And I looked as I entered into the yard. My niece-in-law and my niece stood at the front door of my old house, and my niece-in-law looked to my other niece and said, "Yep, that tree is rotten. Yep, it sure is rotten. It's dying. It's rotten." She then proceeded to scream, "Kendra, run! You get out of the way. That tree is going to fall." I then thought cognitively, I know what this is. I knew that the tree symbolized the family bloodline, and the prayers that I had prayed of removing the altars and the curses out of my family, I knew cognitively that tree symbolized the tearing down of altars. I knew that in my dream. So as I proceeded to think this cognitively, the tree began to fall. I looked and saw the rot in the tree. It was turning black, gushing out. I proceeded to see it fall, I proceeded to see the tree fall, right? And I proceeded to run. And I'm running. Now in my yard, right, there we didn't have a jungle gym and like a swing set jungle gym with the slide. But in my dream, there was a swing set jungle gym with the slide. And I proceeded to get out of the way of the huge tree falling. I ran under it. And as I ran, I see my niece, my baby niece, Jada. And I proceeded to run, and I grabbed hold of her. And now I, in my dream, felt the impact of how the size of this tree. Y'all don't understand. I felt the impact of it. This tree was so massive that when it fell, the dust under us and all around about us kicked up into the air. And I had grabbed my niece and ran and rolled myself from under the jungle gym and ran to the other side of the house, and me and my niece to safety. And I knew that moment when I put my niece down, I said to myself in my dream, I knew that was the falling down of curses, of altars that my family had created in our bloodline. I knew it. That was one of the major dreams that I had after praying the prayers that Tiffany Montgomery told me to pray. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? The prayers, I not only did I have that dream, I then had a dream of the sun turning, of the moon. It was not the sun. It was the moon turning orange. And it looked like somebody detonated the moon, and the moon exploded. But the explosion next to the moon was just a puff. And the moon turning the whole earth orange. It fell and kept falling, but it did not fall in the earth. It fell about the side of the earth and proceeded to just fall off the side of the earth, leaving the earth orange. And then I woke up. So, and I had several different dreams as a result after praying these prayers, right? Now, that is not, the dream is not what we're talking about. After the dreams and after the last day, now, I don't know if I said this, I started late the Year in the Bride fast and had to go from the beginning and work my way back up to do all of the Year of the Bride fast. So I didn't finish the Year of the Bride fast. I brought in the New Year's with it from December and then finished it out the last day of January. In that time, the last day of the Year of the Bride fast, I prayed the last prayer that she had us to pray. And in that prayer, I can't remember the full thing verbatim, but I have huge books of all the prayers. And in that prayer, the last prayer that I prayed, it basically said, this is like a new season of, this is the new season that will bring in marital torrents, and this is a season of marriage for me, a marriage breakthrough, is basically what I prayed, right? And I want y'all to understand this, and this is why it took me so long to even do this video. I don't want people to think I'm crazy. You know, people gonna think what they want to anyway, but I'm gonna tell you like this. I've never been a woman who heard voices. I've never been a woman, I thought anybody, to put a perspective on it, I thought anybody who heard voices was out there rapping. Because I always told myself, you know, watch videos of people hearing voices, you think they crazy and out there rapping, them niggas out their mind, right? That's what I think when I hear somebody say they hear, but how can you function like that? How can you function hearing voices, seeing things? And so, I've never been suicidal a day in my life. I was the type of person, not, you know, no disrespect, God, and I, you know, I was the type of person where I'd rather kill you if you causing that much issue in my life than to kill me. That's just how I was brought up. That's just how I thought. I'm gonna be honest, right? And so you can write in the description box below if you got to this point, if that's you. So I'm saying all that to say, the last day of the Year of the Bride fast, I prayed that prayer. A loud whisper voice came from nowhere as I prayed that prayer. And I said that this is the new season that I'm walking into of marriage. A loud whisper screamed out, no. And I don't know how to I'm not crazy enough to hear voices. Like, I've never in my life heard voices, ever. I'm telling. And so when I proceeded to hear this loud no, I don't even think I could compute or fathom what the heck. Like, I was taken aback, but shocked at the same time is the best way to put it. Now, to put some perspective on it also, as I was doing the Year of the Bride fast, I was going through a lot of spiritual attack. Psychological spiritual attacks that I never dealt with. Not only that, my face started to break out with a rash that I had. Mind you, I was fasting, and it could be due to the fact that I was fasting and my body was purging, but this breakout was severe. All over my face. I wish I had took pictures, and maybe I do have some. It was a whole bunch of bumps all over my face and my neck. I don't know where it came from, but that wasn't even just it. I started to get high highs of depression, low lows, to the point of suicidal thoughts. I told God I had never wanted to die so much in my life. That is how bad the spiritual attacks were. Like right now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm holding back tears. I don't know why, but it was that bad of lows. I had never spiraled ever in my life. So I've been low, but never that low. And I could not make of how bad these lows were. I cannot describe to you how bad they were. They were low. And I'm not a suicidal person ever in my life. I'm telling you, I'm the type of person where if you are causing me this much mental stress, I'd rather kill you than me. But I remember saying to God, I have never felt like killing myself this many times in my life. And I never will. You understand me? I ain't that type of person. So God don't give you nothing you can't handle. And evidently he knew me well. So going back on to what I was saying, after I had prayed that last prayer, right? Because me feeling those low lows and high highs was all throughout the duration of the fast. From mental, spiritual attack of making me feel defeated, making me feel low, making me feel like I had no faith and didn't trust in God. Though that type of torment. And it was bad. It was, I'm telling y'all, I don't know how to explain how bad, making me feel like I doubted God. I questioned whether I believed in him. It was bad. I was crying almost every other day. That's how bad it was. And so the last day of the year of the bride fast, literally, after praying this prayer, I heard the loudest whisper. So loud that I didn't know what to make of it, and I didn't know what to do. But you know, the mind is so crazy. It has the ability. I heard it, but I was like, I guess to myself, I was like, no. So I realized, I guess I thought it away. I knew what I heard. Instantly, I didn't know what to make. Where I looked around my car like, what the heck is going on? Like, I know what I heard, and I know my mouth didn't say it. And so I didn't know. Y'all don't understand. I don't know what to make of it. And so if you made it this far, let me know by putting a thumbs up in the description box. And so I proceeded for a couple of days. Like I said, I was going through a lot of spiritual attack. And I guess I did it for a couple of days. I didn't know, but knew I was hearing whispers. And I don't know how to explain that to you, but to explain it exactly how I said it. I was hearing whispers. They were low but high enough for me to hear them. And I guess I put it off. And then one day, in the month of February, I realized, and I sat realizing I was hearing these whispers every single day of February. And I think by the time I noticed, this was the third week of February. By the time, because I literally, so the first day I heard the whisper, it was the last day of January. It was the last day that I prayed the prayer. I heard it and I guess my mind tried to cope with what I just heard. And I, even in the beginning of February, first week, second week, I knew I was hearing things. But I don't know what I guess my mind was trying to wrap its head around it. So I started going to church every day, more consistently. And I, spoke with my family, talked to my family. And I sat to myself quietly, realizing that every day for the past 3 weeks of February, I have been hearing loud whispers every day. But it was that third week where I realized these whispers were consistent. They were loud, and it is what they were screaming. They were screaming no. They were screaming no. Was basically the bulk of what the spirit, or whatever this was, the voice was saying. No. It was no anytime I prayed. It was no anytime I thought of marriage. It was no. So in that, I remember watching Stephen Darby. And when he said, you try the spirit, right? You try that spirit. So I tried it. And I said, is Jesus Christ Lord and Savior? And that spirit, loud, again, with a loud whisper, said no. And so when I knew that this was not a God. And this is why I'm telling you not to follow Tiffany Montgomery. Tiffany Montgomery, being a female and knowing she is not supposed to pastor, she don't know what demonic gate she is opening to all the women. I don't care if you got married. You don't know if that was sent by God. I don't care how nice it looked. I don't care if it was everything you hoped for. Even watch Steph and Darby, Satan sends people too. I don't care. I am telling you that since then, and I'm not a crazy person, since then I have been hearing these, and they are louder now, and they're consistent. And let me tell you something, they're relentless, day in, day out. It's not just the voices. When I pray, I feel things that I've never felt a day in my life. I prayed because I hear these voices. And I've tried everything to get rid of them spiritually. I didn't fast the best way that I could, and I probably should, because I had a dream the other day about fasting, and I probably should go to 7 days. But I did fast 3 days, dry fast. And they're still here, right? And they scream no. Now they tell me they scream shut up to me a lot. They always tell me to shut up. That is something that is consistent. It's the shut up, the no's when I pray, the shut up when I pray. And it's even to the point that a couple of times, not one, but this specific time that I prayed, I want to tell you about that. I prayed and I blacked out my whole car, and it was my only place where I could be, by myself. Because where I'm at, I live with my mother. Well, I don't live with her, but I live by her, and it's the only way I can get privacy. So I stayed within my car. Right? It'll call me a liar. It'll tell me to shut up. It will tell me no. These are the things that it says to me often. So anyway, I proceeded to pray, right? As I prayed, I felt the presence go up my back and around my throat, as if it was trying to choke me and intimidate me from praying. So I proceeded to pray harder. And the harder I prayed, the harder I was losing breath, because it was literal. And I had to think to myself quickly, God is not going to let him kill me. It is not my time. God, and I had to tell myself that. And I proceeded to pray harder. And I felt the presence so all over me of whatever spirit it was trying to intimidate me. And I knew it was. It wanted me to stop praying. So I continued to pray. And eventually that feeling left, right? I was trying to describe to my sister the feeling. The feeling, I don't know how to describe when a spirit is trying to overtake you, but it can't. But you feel it enter you, if that makes sense. I don't know how to describe the feeling. But I don't know how to describe the feeling of the pressure around my back and neck either. It just felt like pressure. That's the best way to put it. Since then, I know the sound of spirits leaving, coming and going, at least to me. It rings my ears. I don't know if they're good or bad spirits, but one spirit sounds like wind chimes. When it comes and it goes, like even now I hear it. And you know what's so crazy? I thought that I couldn't hear the spirits. Only time I heard them is when I'm speaking. But then I would hear them when it was silent. And then I thought, okay, only time I hear spirits is when I'm by myself. But one day, and I didn't, and it confused me. Because sometimes it would tell me to shut up before I would get angry with my mother or say something wrong. It would intervene and also tell me to shut up and to be. So I started to be confused. Is it a bad spirit? Is it a good spirit? It would confuse me. I didn't know what to make of it because sometimes it would tell me not to do wrong. And so and then when I was lying, it would call me a liar, but then Satan is an accuser. And then he denied Christ. Whatever it is, I was confused. And I know God is not the author of confusion. So this is me telling you, do not follow her, because Tiffany Montgomery, because you don't know what she is opening up when you follow her. Now, I'm sorry for being long, but if you made it this far, make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and put a thumbs up. And if you have any of these stories yourself, share them with me and tell your story, because Tiffany Montgomery needs to take several seats and sit herself whole down and do nothing else with anybody else. Period. And I would tell it to her face. Do nothing else with anybody else. Sit down. You are not a prophet. You are not a woman of God. Because if you were, you would know you're not supposed to do what you're doing. You didn't prophesy a lick. Anyway, stay up, stay blessed, y'all. Put God first above all else. Peace out. Bye.